2 minutes to broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds to broadcast. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Live from the Hoosier Media Studios. This is The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier on the Hoosier Media Network.
Yes, indeed it is. Hey, welcome into The Voice of Reason. It is a Friday, a free-for-all Friday. I love today. I love it. The news today is absolutely outstanding. We have some hilarious stories for you today. Also, I want to get your thoughts. No guest today, just you and I chit in the chat, and boy, do we have a lot to chat about today. Did you know that Russia is involved with our elections yet again? Did you know that? I wasn't aware of that. Apparently, they're going to be involved in the election again. Last time they interfered with President Donald Trump, there was a story earlier that President Trump was again going to get the help from Vladimir Putin, my friends. And he, from the mother country, was going to help Donald Trump get elected again for the second time. Then we just hear a story, an hour ago? 2 hours ago? This was as of 4 p.m. Eastern, so I guess about 3 hours ago, that now they are helping another candidate. Shocker, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. Welcome in, broadcasting live all across the interweb, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, Twitch, and LinkedIn. Also, the Podbean live stream is up and at it. We got a lot of people jumping on and leaving comments. Happy Friday to all of you and hanging out with us here on a Friday. It's going to be a fun show. I'm excited. So I want to hear from you. You can call us up on the Podbean app. You can leave a comment through all of the social media chats, and I want to get your thoughts. Here's the headline according to the Washington Post. Bernie Sanders is briefed by U.S. officials that Russia is trying to help his presidential campaign. Say what? Bernie Sanders. Now, this is the guy that, of course, has held up communism, democratic socialism, where it's socialism, but you feel good about voting on it in a democratic process, apparently. Apparently, he's been briefed by U.S. officials, as in like the CIA, FBI, whoever surveying this, and President Trump has been notified on this as well, that the Russians are interfering or at least assisting Bernie Sanders in this campaign based on social media, based on advertisement, based on fake information or fake news.
You are fake news.
And it happens. I mean, people post ridiculous things all over social media, and you don't know whether it's true or not. For a point in cases right now, that kid that's being bullied, or the video that was posted about the kid being bullied and he's crying and threatening suicide or whatever, and the mom posted it for suicide awareness of children. Now we don't know whether it's actually real or not. How screwed up is that? You don't know whether it's real or not. Is it an 18-year-old actor who's got dwarfism who's actually doing this for whatever reason? Because people are donating to him, because there's money involved in it, whatever the case is. Now we don't know. We don't know what's actually factually correct or not. And that's really sad in society, isn't it? That especially with a hot topic like suicide, bullying, like children that are having issues, if you don't know that that's actually true or not, how pathetic is it for someone to actually try and abuse that or take advantage of that emotion that people have? Again, I don't know whether it's true or not. You hear some people say, yeah, it's absolutely fake because we saw the Twitter or the Instagram page or whatever he has. Then we say, no, that was actually faked and someone photoshopped it. So either way, someone is completely sick in this scenario, right? You either have someone that's sick that's portraying a child and crying and I guess taking advantage of individuals and their emotions based on the situation, or it's legit and you have people that are making a fake just for the sake of it, which are sick, kind of like the swatting incidents, where they're calling the police and making police go to a random house just for a prank. There's sick people in the world. But now we have Russia. So my question is, colluding with Bernie Sanders, which I find hilarious, it makes sense, right? It really does make sense with Russia finally working with the socialist that likes the USSR, that actually criticized Ronald Reagan during that time, that was all about Russia and the Soviet Union, that was all about Cuba, that was all about Venezuela, that was all about all these nice little socialist communist countries that loved that mentality. It makes sense that they would actually want to help him. But let's go a little bit deeper, shall we? Let's put on the thinking caps. Let's put on the conspiratorial hats for just a second. Does it go deeper? Does Russia's collusion, because it's fact now, they know that they're helping Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders has come out and said that Vladimir Putin, stay out of our elections. We don't want you meddling in the election. We don't want you to be involved in it in any way, shape, or form. So obviously he's not working necessarily with Bernie, and I believe Bernie on that. I believe Bernie Sanders that he's not wanting Russian help with this. I truly do. But they are. Now, wait a second. Now, he's going to try and distance himself, but he's going to be linked with it. Hillary Clinton already went after a presidential candidate for colluding with Russia or working with Vladimir Putin or being a puppet of Russia, and that was Tulsi Gabbard. And look at what happened there. Tulsi Gabbard fired back, and now Hillary Clinton's being sued $50 million because of that statement from Tulsi Gabbard. So now the Democrats have arson against Bernie Sanders, that he's now colluding with Russia, or Russia is colluding with him, whether he wants it or not. How does it feel, Bernie, to be associated with a group or a side that you don't want to be associated with, who's partnered up with you and you don't want anything to do with it? Well, you kind of do, but you don't want it to be done publicly. How does it feel? Because remember, if you remember back in the 2016 election, David Duke and them KKK members ended up endorsing Donald Trump, and therefore Donald Trump's a racist Nazi. Remember that? Yeah, remember those accusations? And he's like, I absolutely do not support the KKK. I don't support white supremacists in any way, shape, or form. They're evil, terrible ideologies. They're evil, terrible people, and I don't want anything to do with them. But David Duke supports you, therefore you're just part of it. You just got to accept it. So now you have Bernie, where he's getting tied to the Russians, and Vladimir Putin and the Russians apparently supporting Bernie Sanders and liking his message and liking what he's doing and saying, hey, you're pretty awesome, the socialist, right? Hey, oh, you taking away the money, you giving those social programs, you getting all that nice little welfare state. That's brilliant. Well done, my friend. Let's have some vodka together. So let's put on the conspiratorial hat for a second. If it was linked to Bernie for some reason, and it wasn't Bernie that reached out, why? It could just be the fact that Russia likes Bernie and his policies. But could there be a conspiracy behind it? Let's go down that rabbit hole for a second, shall we? The Democrats, of course, are going to come out, and the media and the Bernie supporters will come out, and this is my prediction. This just happened 3 hours ago. I have not heard any response from Democrats in any way, shape, or form, other than Bernie Sanders saying that I have nothing to do with Russia and they need to stay out of our elections, and I don't want your support. I haven't heard anything else, but here's my prediction. The Hoosier prediction of the day is that the Democrats and the media that support Bernie Sanders, the media who is all about supporting Bernie, trying to shun Mike Bloomberg, trying to shun Elizabeth Warren, trying to shun Joe Biden, trying to shun all the other candidates and hype up Bernie as the one with the big rallies, the one that's going to bring the big change, the one that's going to lead us down the right path. The media loves Bernie Sanders. What are they going to do? I haven't turned on the media, so I don't know. Here's my prediction is that they're going to blame Donald Trump. Donald Trump, fearful of a general election against Bernie Sanders, terrified of what that could be with a head-to-head. He's scared, he's shaking in his boots, and the one who's been colluding with Russia, the one who's been colluding with Ukraine, Donald Trump, he has now stuck Russia to go after Bernie Sanders to try and stop him, to try and topple him and knock him down a few pegs so he doesn't get the nomination. This is the spin the media is going to take on this. Donald Trump has told Russia, because they work so well together and they're colluding with each other, to go after Bernie Sanders because Donald Trump is scared of a head-to-head showdown with Bernie Sanders in a 2020 general election. That's what the media is going to say. And that would be very interesting. Now, you could also say, on the other hand, that the Democrats, who are fearful of Bernie Sanders getting the nomination because he's too radical, because he's not going to go with the party well, because the under tickets of all the congressional seats and all the local seats all across the nation are going to have to go under the Democrat platform, hyped up by someone like a Bernie Sanders who's a radical. And as we've talked about before, that Bernie Sanders is not the ideal candidate for the establishment Democrats, which now it sounds like we're going to go to a brokered convention, which will be awesome to watch, man. It'll be great. But because of all this, that maybe Hillary Clinton, who obviously does have connections with Russia, Joe Biden, who obviously does have connections with the Ukraine with his son, the Democrats, who obviously do have a connection with Russia because it's been proven, just the media and the Democrats don't actually want to look at themselves in the mirror about it, But, Hillary, who made speeches and gave campaign money, or they gave her campaign money, and, she sold them uranium, and, the Clintons that go over, Bill Clinton that goes over and does a $500,000 speech over there, and Joe Biden and his son that works with the Ukrainians in the energy department, all this other garbage. Are they upset that Bernie is leading so far in the polls? I mean, I just saw a headline today from the news saying that Bernie might not be able to be stopped, even if the Democrats want to stop him. Even if they want to stop him, Michael Bloomberg is a little too far too late. He didn't get there in time. Joe Biden starting to trickle off into the polls. Elizabeth Warren trailing off in the polls. Bernie Sanders starting to surge. That 16,000 crowd rally that he had in Washington. That 11,000 person crowd rally in Colorado. That Bernie is just running away with it too far, and there's nothing they can do to stop it, and they are desperate. Are the Democrats sticking Russia on them? Because all the story has to be is, look, Russia is working with Sanders, or Russia is supporting Bernie Sanders, and Democrats who have been going after Donald Trump for the last 4 years will completely disregard and completely disengage from Bernie Sanders. Republicans will laugh and point and say, ha, you're the ones that are corrupt. And all it does, no matter what, is damage Bernie Sanders. So let's think this through. Maybe he can walk away from it and brush it off and say, that's not really me. I have nothing to do with it. I'm going to distance myself. And that's what Donald Trump did with David Duke and the KKK and all those other yahoos. And he did fine because Trump supporters realized what was really going on. Maybe Bernie supporters will realize what's really going on, and they'll be like, yeah, that's not really him. That's not really what's going on. Don't try and lump him in with Russia. Now, if you're smart and you're actually like an average, commonsensical, reasonable person, you'll realize that Bernie Sanders has the same ideals as Putin with, national education and national health care and trying to redistribute wealth and make people live on not very much income and all that kind of garbage. He really loves it. He loved the Soviet Union. He loved Cuba, and he's all about that kind of stuff. So why wouldn't they? They're like, hey, if you guys are going to change yourself internally in the United States, why wouldn't we support a candidate that would go down that same road? Makes sense, right? So would Bernie Sanders accept it behind the scenes? Hey, Putin, I appreciate it, man. We're going to work together. It's kind of like the Obama thing. After I get elected, it'll be great. We'll have the open door communication. We'll be able to work closely together. It's going to be outstanding. Just shh. Hang tight. Hang tight. We'll do this. Is it Donald Trump that's actually stuck Russia on them because he's colluding with them anyways and he's scared of a head-to-head? See, again, I would love a head-to-head challenge with Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump. I think it would be a complete wash, and I think it would be the greatest election that we've ever seen, and I really want that to happen. Donald Trump's not scared. Donald Trump's not intimidated by him. He's crazy Bernie. That's what he is. Feel the burn, baby. You need some cream for that. A little bit. If it's anything, it's got to be the Democrats terrified that he's running away with the nomination. Terrified about it. Which I wouldn't put it past him. But again, all this is just speculation. All this is just conspiracy theory. So I want to get your thoughts. We have a lot of comments on the Podbean site. We'll read those here in just a minute. Also on the Facebook Live and YouTube Live, you can leave a comment there as people are jumping on as well. Do you think that the Russian interference with Bernie Sanders, it's proven? U.S. officials, they say, CIA, FBI, whoever's doing this, U.S. officials have notified both the Sanders campaign and President Donald Trump about the interference and the support of Bernie Sanders on social media, on the interweb, and Bernie, of course. And now, I got to give credit to Bernie Sanders, where he tells his supporters, be cautious of what you see online for the trash talk and the attack ads, because a lot of it may not be true and that fake news. And he says, I don't want anything to do with Russia. So I give him props for that. Now, he has a lot of the same mentality, and deep down, he may be like, you score! Got the Russians, baby! It's going to be great! But I don't think so. I think that look, he's been consistent his entire life. He's been wrong, but he's been consistent his entire life. And I think that he does want a certain vision, and even though it may be the same vision as what Russia has had, he wants to do it in his own way, in his own shape or form, and he doesn't want to be tied to Russia. So I think he would want to distance himself, and I give him credit for doing that. And he did come out with the right statement. So the question is, does it go deeper? Is it Donald Trump sticking them on him, or is it the Democrats that have called up onto Russia to say, hey, make this happen, baby, knock him down a few pegs, let's get Michael Bloomberg up a little bit higher in the polls, get Hillary Clinton back into the ring with a running ticket with Michael Bloomberg, and then we get this party back on track. I think that would be absolutely hysterical. We'll read some comments when we come back. We'll take a break. I don't want to focus all the time on this. I just thought that was pretty entertaining. We have a lot to get to today. Here's the question for you. and I want you to leave a comment no matter where you may be on social media. Should we make English the official language of the United States? Kind of an old topic, kind of something that we bounce to back and forth when it comes to the immigration topic, but it's back in the news as many states and many communities are trying to make that the official language. And as we talk about different languages spoken in the U.S. with the melting pot or the mosaic or whatever you want to call the United States, I really want to focus on it. Should we make it the official language of the nation? And at the same time, is the tide changing with that mentality and the support or lack thereof as we move on? We'll talk about some of that today, plus many states wanting to secede from the United States because they're sick and tired of liberal progressive Democrats running it, and they want to move off and branch off and kind of do their own thing. That's an interesting topic as well, so we'll try and cover all this tonight. We'll get your thoughts on it and more right here on the Hoosier Media Network. Do me a favor, go to HoosierReason.com. We've done some updates to the website. We've changed some things around. We moved some stuff around. We have a new blog that'll be coming out next week. Next week as well, we have the newsletter coming out. So if you have not subscribed to the newsletter, please do so. Go to HoosierReason.com. You can become a Hoosierholic just by going halfway down. We moved a lot of stuff around, so it's kind of neat. So right before the pictures, I believe, right after the new survey, which we have a new survey up as well. You can go on, you can actually do the survey. It's 3 questions, very simple. And right below that, it says Become a Hoosierholic. Just type in your email address. You can subscribe. It's totally free. All you'll do is get the monthly newsletter. You'll get a weekly email about the guests and all that jazz, show information, and more. It's pretty awesome. It's free, and why the heck not? You already get a bunch of stuff to your email anyways, so what the heck? What do you got to... As Donald Trump says, what do you got to lose? Go ahead and vote for me and sign up on that. It's the Voice of Reason here on the Hoosier Media Network.
It's been a long, fun, nerve-wracking, and exciting journey to relaunch the program as an independent entity. Now we've launched our very own Hoosier Media Network to give you more content, more shows, more talk, on even many more different topics as well. We now have full reign to help fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and even just individual improvement. But we need your help to reach more people. If you own a business or you want to help the show in any way, we're excited to work with our partners to take your message and ours to the next level. Together, we can educate, entertain, and bring wisdom and information to those who want it and to those who possibly need it. Let's fight for what's right together. Email us today at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, if you're a business owner looking to get your brand out or someone that just wants to help support the cause, we want to support you and support that cause as well. Email us at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Also, for more information, content on the show, or to reach us as well, go to HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. As the show keeps growing, I want to make sure each and every Hoosierholic stays in the loop. That's why you need to check out HoosierReason.com. Catch the weekly blog informing you on the latest news of the show, upcoming projects, and more. Plus, you can watch live shows, listen to all the podcasts, find affiliates of the show, catch special features, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to subscribe to our site and become an official Hoosierholic. Get your monthly newsletter, latest news about the show, and recaps of current events all right to your email. It's the fastest growing show in America. Don't miss a beat. Go to HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. Want to join the show? We'd love to hear your thoughts during the program. And it's easy. First, send us a chat on the Facebook Live or YouTube Live streaming during the show anytime. Also, join us in the live chat room at HoosierReason.com. Just click on the Listen Live tab, watch the live stream, and chat with other listeners. You can also chat and even call into the show through the Podbean app. Just download the Podbean app on your smartphone, join the live stream, chat with other listeners, and even call us live through the Podbean app. You can argue with me, debate with me, or just let me know your thoughts of the show. No matter how you do it, be part of the show. Why? Because it's your show, and it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. The Voice of Reason, the show where you can chat, comment, or call in live each day during the program. All the information's at HoosierReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier with the Voice of Reason. I know it's a lot, but make sure to join us and follow us on all the social media platforms you use for all your updates. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Minds.com, Instagram, you name it, we're on it. Just search Hoosier Reason on all the platforms. Watch live shows, information about the show, the latest chat about current events, and more. Just search Hoosier Reason on any of your favorite social media sites and keep some reason in your day. It's kind of the reasonable thing to do. It's the Voice of Reason all over social media. Hey, miss the show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of ways to watch, learn, and be entertained while enjoying the Voice of Reason anytime that you want. And here's how to do it. First, become a Hoosierholic by going to HoosierReason.com and subscribing to the site newsletter to stay up on the latest. Second, subscribe to the podcast. Under the show podcast tab, click on the link to the Podbean site and subscribe. You'll get notified anytime new audio pops up. Plus, if you have iTunes or Spotify, you can subscribe to the Voice of Reason on those as well and have the shows automatically downloaded to your device. Third, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com and search my name, Andy Hoosier, and subscribe to the page. There you can follow all of our live shows, posted videos, and more. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com.
Fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
We are killing it when it comes to a lot of the comments on the Podbean site. Thanks for hanging out there. And so here's how it works. We realize how the heart points or the like points work on Podbean. It's not that you actually hit the like button, but it's what you do if you share the live feed with your Podbean account, or if you just share it with your friends, and you get a certain amount of points. If you leave a comment, if you just listen to a certain amount of time, then you get some. So everybody that's on there, that's awesome. There's a lot of new people on there as well, a lot of old people. Thank you for that. We appreciate it very much. Love the comments going on about Bernie Sanders. Here's the question: is Bernie Sanders knowingly accepting the help from Russian collusion, quote unquote, with his campaign going into the election? This is bad for Bernie because, well, he's going to be lumped in with the Russian collusion. And he could try and twist it to the sense of, well, they're interfering with our election. This is how it's happening, and you need to elect me so I can stop this because I know their tricks now. Ha-ha, I know the tricks of the trade. But is it the Democrats that have stuck the Russians on him? Is it Donald Trump that's done it, or is it just their own accord? Had a comment on there that he's just the useful idiot. He's going to destroy the economy and looking out for the best interest of the grand. By the way, it's not Dracula's accent. It's the Russians. I am Dracula. I guess it works the same way. I want to suck your blood. That's what he wants to do anyway. So it makes sense now. Bernie, he hates capitalism. He wants to suck everybody's blood out, which is our revenue, and take it all for him. He's a vampire. He's the socialist vampire. Look out, Bernie! But it would make sense if Russia is looking for their best interest, which is making them the powerhouse and making us completely crumble and fail, then it would make sense if they want Bernie to fail miserably because he's going to be, he's going to be destroying our nation, destroying us economically. So that is definitely an option. I mean, they don't have to be pressured by anybody to do it. They could just be doing it on their own accord. Which begs the question, if it is their own accord, and they are helping Bernie because they realize he's going to harm the nation, which I don't know. I mean, Vladimir Putin's very USSR style, old KGB. He kind of likes that old guard style. He would support a lot of the policies that Bernie's doing, but maybe he knows that we're not sustainable for that, and we're not prepared for a system like that would crash. Regardless, though, if they are, then how would that in any way, shape, or form go the other direction and say, well, that is proof that Donald Trump colluded with them in the 2016 election, or that they colluded with Donald Trump in his campaign, in his support in 2016. If they do support the financial collapse of the nation with Bernie Sanders and socialist policies, then they wouldn't have supported someone like Donald Trump. So that's a very interesting thing to think about. And the Democrats are going to be spinning. They're going to be tying themselves in knots, trying to find a way to distance themselves and their golden child of Bernie Sanders away from something like that. But I find it more likely the Democrats themselves are the ones that would actually encourage this behavior because they don't want him to be the nominee. According to the latest Politico ad, former Goldman Sachs CEO, quote, "I might find it harder to vote for Bernie Sanders than for Donald Trump." This is a Goldman Sachs CEO. The top 1%ers, the elites that hate Bernie Sanders because they don't want their money taken away. They hate the average folk. You know, we hate them. They hate us, that whole class warfare, the garbage that they talk about. And as many of them hated Donald Trump, they say, well, Bernie's too divisive. We don't want Bernie to be the nominee. We can't handle something like that. We would rather vote for Donald Trump, who's a business guy, who's made the stock market soar, made the GDP grow, made businesses expand left and right. We'd rather support him than someone like Bernie Sanders. And that should be the Democrat base right there. The 1%ers, the elitists, the old guard, the ones that think that they can be the ruling class. That's kind of a progressive mentality. Those are usually Democrats. They're usually Democrats. which is why the Democrats are panicked if Bernie Sanders gets the nomination. It'd be harder for down-ticket elections. It'd be harder for purple districts all over the nation, and they're losing their base. They would keep the socialist base, but that base doesn't have any money. They're the ones with the hemp clothing and the dreadlocks and the sandals that say, yeah, man, Bernie's going to be awesome, dude. And they don't have any money. The Goldman Sachs ones, the ones that actually keep the Democrat Party going, that actually go to the dinner tables at $10,000 a ticket per head for a political contribution or a political fundraiser, those are the ones they're going for. That's who the Democrats have always been for. Andy, that's not true. They're for the working class. Yeah, okay. Good luck with that mindset. That's who they've always been. And the fact that they're starting to waffle, this is a headline from Politico, a very liberal source, and they're saying, I'd probably vote for Trump over Bernie Sanders. He's too divisive. That's why I think the Democrats are like, yeah, we need some help here. Hey, Putin, can you come assist us for a minute? Aye, my friends. I don't even know what accent that was. Doesn't really matter. At the same time, President Donald Trump, according to CNBC, has the highest approval rating among small business at a 64%, which is an all-time high for him, which means people are happy, small businesses thriving, and at the same time says that Bernie Sanders, or that Donald Trump is actually making people happy and love America again. Close to 60% of people surveyed now say that they are proud of the United States, which is quite drastically higher than what it was before, where it's like, we hate the U.S., we're going to burn the flag, we're going to step on the flag. Now, again, they're not Donald Trump supporters, but nonetheless. So as the economy's growing, let's set the stage here for just a second, shall we? While the economy's growing, the GDP is booming, people are working, businesses are flourishing, we have CEOs that are saying, yeah, I'd probably vote for Donald Trump over Bernie Sanders. The Democrats are panicked about their policies. They're panicked about their front-runner candidate right now. They don't know how to handle the situation. What are they going to do to attack Donald Trump? They can't attack him on the economy and how well those things are going there. They can't really attack him based on policy that he's done. They can try and go back to the thing with like immigration. But as you realize, they lost a lot of support when every single candidate raised their hand, said that we were going to fund health care for illegal immigrants for free, and that we could let them in and take the health care. Even Democrats don't like that concept, because why would we be paying with our taxpayer money for an illegal immigrant to gain health care? We already kind of do, but to openly support it would be a whole nother level. So what could they possibly attack Donald Trump on? They say he's the worst guy in the world, that he's Hitler, that he's a tyrant, that he's this, that he's that, that he's whatever. But what could they attack him on? Well, according to this, the only thing they can attack him on is that he was racist against Native Americans when attacking Elizabeth Warren. This is not a joke. This is a true story from The Independent out of the UK. This is not a joke. Here's the headline. This is the only thing they can attack him on. While they are crumbling and don't know how to rebuild the party, while they are literally on fire, panicking with their party. Who's going to be the front runner? Who's the best chance to beat Donald Trump? Who's going to win this nomination? While they're literally panicking and their house is on fire, they're going after Donald Trump and calling him a racist again. That he's a racist, that he's a Nazi, that he's an Islamophobe, that he's whatever. Here's the headline out of the UK. Trump makes a string of racist comments about Native Americans during an attack on Elizabeth Warren. Now, I want your thoughts here. Is this a racist comment? Truly, honestly. Now, he's called her Pocahontas for years. That's hilarious. Ha, ha, ha. The fact that she's even in it and she has any support after lying about her heritage, which I thought was a cultural appropriation. You know, white girls can't be dressed up like Moana because that's for Halloween, because that is cultural appropriation. They can't be the dark-skinned girl. You're not allowed to do that. If you do yoga, that's apparently cultural appropriation unless you're actually Indian from the country of India, because that's cultural appropriation. All these white people out here in the U.S. doing yoga. What cultural appropriated jerks, right? It's what we've heard day in and day out. Now, Elizabeth Warren, I'm Native American. Not only did she say it, she put it on the bar exam application in Texas to get her bar exam, or to get her bar license to become a lawyer, and she contributed to a Native American cookbook with like 4 different recipes back in the day. Hyping it up. I'm from Oklahoma. Of course I got that Native American heritage. Blonde hair, blue eyes, pale, glow in the dark. Kind of like me. Glow in the dark. Now, I can say I have Native American heritage. It's like 0.05%. But there was a rumor in the family back in the day that we had it. Now, I never claim it, but I guess I could try. But nonetheless, she's allowed to do that. So Donald Trump mocks her, calls her Pocahontas. Ha ha ha, Pocahontas, whatever. But here's the racist comment that he made. Now, let me know if this is truly a racist comment. Speaking at a rally in Las Vegas, that was yesterday, Donald Trump claimed that Elizabeth Warren believed that she was an Indian because she had, quote, high cheekbones, and again dubbed her as Pocahontas. That she has high cheekbones, and said that she was mean after her performance in Wednesday's Democratic presidential primary. And she was mean because of that Indian blood in her. She was vicious. She was angry like the Apaches coming to scalp you. Or the Comanches, or whatever tribe was very angry that tried to scalp people. I think it was Comanches. But she had high cheekbones, and that she was extremely mean. Are those racist comments about being Native American? I'm curious here. Now, my wife, now let me clarify, she does not have a tribal card. She is not part of a tribe. We have the family documentation, but she's trying to get her tribal card. She does have Native American blood. She does. We know it. It's documented through the family, but she's not been able to get enough evidence or be able to prove it enough, whatever, to get the tribal card because we don't even know who to reach out to. That's something we may try and do at some point. But if you look at her, she looks 100% Native American. She has the dark hair. She's got the dark skin. Yes, she has high cheekbones. And do you realize how many people have actually said in her lifetime, wow, you got really high cheekbones. Are you Native American? It's a feature of people with Native Americans. But apparently now, if you say that, it's a racist comment. This is not even like a below standard of standards falling to beyond what we thought they could, hitting rock bottom for the Democrats for a racist attack. They have literally nothing left to go after Trump. Everything is doing well. Their party is in complete disarray. They don't have a front runner. They don't know who to support. So they say he's a racist because he said that Elizabeth Warren has high cheekbones and that she's mean. Oh, and by the way, apparently he sent out a tweet referencing like the Trail of Tears saying, welcome to the campaign trail, Liz, back when she announced. Okay, that's kind of funny because, it's sad. The Trail of Tears, obviously a terrible, horrible thing. Obviously a very devastating thing where thousands of people died on the trail, and it's moving people off their lands to different reservations. Terrible ordeal. But welcome to the trail. Is he referencing that her campaign is going to bomb as badly? That's a joke. Get over it. But yet, people are so sensitive today that I guess that's compared to some type of racist comment about saying, welcome to the campaign trail, all capitalized. I find it kind of comical. And that's coming from someone who's married to a Native American who does not claim it because she does not have a tribal card. But she is. She is. Hint, hint, wink, wink. So, the racist comments that they have against Donald Trump now is the fact that he said she has high cheekbones and that she's mean, and that apparently is enough for individuals to say that Donald Trump is mean. That's what they have. Just imagine this for a second. We're going into a massive presidential reelection for 2020, and that's the best attack they can have against our president, against Donald Trump. That's the best they can have because they have nothing else. Their ideas are terrible, and it's not popular. They don't know how to make their ideals popular. So they try and do what we talked about last week by making their progressive policies and arguing them by a conservative standpoint, which is comical, and then trying to say that he's still a racist, he's still a Nazi, he's still a fascist, he's still everything under the sun. That didn't work in 2016. It's not going to work now. And with small businesses that make up 90% of the economy right now, business owners, 90% of businesses are small businesses, categorized as small business in the nation, and they're at a 65% approval rating of Trump, you know that they're in trouble. When former CEOs of Goldman Sachs, that usually are the bread and butter of financial support for the Democrats, come out and say, I'd rather vote for Trump than Bernie, the Democrats lose their minds. So the good news to the day, as we go into a Friday, as it's a Friday evening and people are trying to wrap up their week and take a breath, just know right now that we're in good hands right now. We're doing fantastic. I love it. I love this. I love the situation we're in. We could not be in a better situation. Let's see what the future holds, shall we? Let's take a break. We got just about 20 minutes left of the program. You can leave comments. We got a lot of comments still going on Podbean right now, so we are dominating. I think we are doing better than we've done before with a lot of the comments in the chat room there, plus the Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter, and Twitch, plus the LinkedIn as well. All over the place. Visit us, HoosierReason.com, here on the Hoosier Media Network.
It's been a long, fun, nerve-wracking, and exciting journey to relaunch the program as an independent entity. Now we've launched our very own Hoosier Media Network to give you more content, more shows, more talk, on even many more different topics as well. We now have full reign to help fight for constitutional principles, traditional values, and even just individual improvement. But we need your help to reach more people. If you own a business or you want to help the show in any way, we're excited to work with our partners to take your message and ours to the next level. Together, we can educate, entertain, and bring wisdom and information to those who want it and to those who possibly need it. Let's fight for what's right together. Email us today at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, if you're a business owner looking to get your brand out or someone that just wants to help support the cause, we want to support you and support that cause as well. Email us at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Also, for more information, content on the show, or to reach us as well, go to HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. As the show keeps growing, I want to make sure each and every Hoosier-holic stays in the loop. That's why you need to check out HoosierReason.com. Catch the weekly blog informing you on the latest news of the show, upcoming projects, and more. Plus, you can watch live shows, listen to all the podcasts, find affiliates of the show, catch special features, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, make sure to subscribe to our site and become an official Hoosier-holic. Get your monthly newsletter, latest news about the show, and recaps of current events all right to your email. It's the fastest growing show in America. Don't miss a beat. Go to HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of ways to watch, learn, and be entertained while enjoying the Voice of Reason anytime that you want. And here's how to do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HoosierReason.com and subscribing to the site newsletter to stay up on the latest. Second, subscribe to the podcast. Under the show podcast tab, click on the link to the Podbean site and subscribe. You'll get notified anytime new audio pops up. Plus, if you have iTunes or Spotify, you can subscribe to the Voice of Reason on those as well and have the shows automatically downloaded to your device. Third, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com and search my name, Andy Hoosier, and subscribe to the page. There you can follow all of our live shows, posted videos, and more. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Hey, it's Andy Hoosier. Want to join the show? We'd love to hear your thoughts during the program. And it's easy. First, send us a chat on the Facebook Live or YouTube Live streaming during the show anytime. Also, join us in the live chat room at HoosierReason.com. Just click on the Listen Live tab, watch the live stream, and chat with other listeners. You can also chat and even call into the show through the Podbean app. Just download the Podbean app on your smartphone, join the live stream, chat with other listeners, and even call us live through the Podbean app. You can argue with me, debate with me, or just let me know your thoughts of the show. No matter how you do it, be part of the show. Why? Because it's your show, and it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. The Voice of Reason, the show where you can chat, comment, or call in live each day during the program. All the information's at HoosierReason.com.
From the Hoosier Media Network, it's the Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier.
We are rocking it, living the dream each and every day here on The Voice of Reason. Thanks for hanging out with us here on a Friday. It's a Friday evening, which means you should be having fun. Have an adult beverage. Kick back, prop your feet up. Enjoy the show a little bit. Let's educate, let's enjoy. I don't like to spread too much like statistics today on a Friday because people have had a heck of a week. But at the same time, it's all about education and excitement at the same time, is it not? So let's shift gears a little bit, other than speaking of the evil racists that so many are, like Donald Trump saying that someone has high cheekbones and therefore should be called Pocahontas with a Native American. I find it comical. It's hilarious. Maybe you disagree. If you think it's offensive, or if you're a supporter, I really want to hear. I truly do. We have a lot of new people listening on Podbean, and if you are on the other side of the aisle, if you're a Bernie Sanders supporter, Elizabeth Warren, whatever, I truly do want to hear. If you don't know me, I have the most rational conversations with callers that disagree with me than any other talk show host. I really do. Having years on the great KQAM in Wichita, we had callers that called nonstop, calling me a jerk and being angry with what I had to say. And I loved chatting for 20, 30 minutes with them, keeping the conversation going. So if you do disagree, be more than welcome to call in. We'll have the most civil conversation you've ever had. You can't interrupt. We can't overtalk each other. But hey, let's get your point across, because sometimes either one of us could be like, oh, wow, that makes sense. And that's what I kind of like. Anyways, all right, let's shift gears here for a second to the BBC, shall we? The BBC.com. The headline, English only, the movement to limit Spanish speaking in the United States. Their headline, there's an estimated 41 million Spanish speakers in the U.S. and that number is increasing, yet there's also a small but vocal movement to restrict the spread of Spanish speaking. Now, here's the thing. We do not have a national language, but we have a default national language that is English, because the large vast majority of Americans speak English. But we do not have a federal you must speak English in order to live here in the United States. Although we kind of do, because if you come here as a naturalized citizen, you go through an English-speaking class to learn how to at least communicate. And you should. Now, let me be very clear. I'm going to be like Barack Obama here for a second. Let me be clear. I have no problem people speaking other languages. In fact, that is very courageous. I spent 5 years in class in high school, 4 semesters, let's put it that way, 2 years, I guess, 4 semesters, learning French. I still can't speak it. I can kind of sort of read it. I can't understand people because I talk way too fast. I can kind of sort of read it and understand it a little bit, and I can remember little phrases here and there, but that's about it. Didn't do Spanish. We had Spanish or French. Those were the two options we had. There are languages that I would love to learn, with German, with, I don't know what else. I'd love to learn a lot of different languages. That would be fun. There's nothing wrong with speaking languages. The difference is here, are we talking about being out in the community and communicating with other people, or are we talking about trying to enforce it in the privacy of people's homes? And that's where this line gets a little gray sometimes. I mean, you have to admit, that's where a lot of people want. They want everybody, some want everybody to speak one language across the board, and that's it. We embrace culture in the United States. We do. I know, evil conservative right now saying that we embrace culture as a melting pot. We embrace culture. We are the melting pot of the world. More people come to the United States from a variety of places around the world than ever any other place on the face of the earth. We should be proud of that. We are very proud of that. No matter what your culture, no matter your skin color, no matter your religion, no matter your whatever, it doesn't matter. If you come through in the legal process, welcome aboard. Now, that being said, we want you to keep your culture. You have a lot to contribute to the great melting pot that is the United States. We want to learn about your culture. We want you to open up a shop that is the foods of your part of the world, that is recipes of that is religious artifacts of that is clothing of that is music of that. We want to experience that. We love it. At the same time, when you communicate with society in the public, you communicate on a level in which is understandable in order for you to succeed in our society, which is English. Keep the culture. Keep the religion. Keep the history. Keep the ancestral traditions. I love it. I am all about it. Speak it in your home. I know a lot of people in the area that I live in, very traditional. There's a lot of Amish. There's a lot of very strict individuals around here religiously, and a lot of them still speak German in the household. Nothing wrong with that. Speak it in the household. But know when you walk out the front door and you talk to your neighbor, or you talk to someone at the bar, or you talk to someone at the restaurant, or you're trying to buy something, that you know how to speak English to communicate. We all cannot walk around with translators all the time. Now, they're like, some of them are like, well, Andy, why can't everybody else just learn the other languages so that way they can do that? So many other nations do that. You go to like France and they know how to speak German and French and English, so that way whatever customer may walk through that door, then they know how to actually respond to them. That's not the way we work. That's not we have a choice if we want to choose to learn those languages, but English is our spoken language in the United States, pure and simple. Now, it's not constitutionally delegated of that sort, but that's what we do. When you come here and you get naturalized, you go through an English class to at least be able to speak somewhat English. Now, if you're trying, I am all about it. If you're trying to pronounce, if you're trying to say something and you're struggling, I am all about the patience to try and help you out the best that I can. I may struggle with trying to understand what you're trying to say, but I will do my darndest. And I hope that if I go to another nation as a tourist and I try to do the same thing, that they will be just as courteous with me. And they'll be like, haha, that's stupid American. All right, let me help you. Come here. Let's pat you on the head and let's get you going. I mean, I'm expecting that. That's okay. But if I move to another nation, why in the world would I say, well, I'm going to move there, but I'm not going to learn the language of the area. I just want them to start pandering to me to learn the language that I speak. That doesn't make any sense. It makes zero sense. But again, there's a difference between what's going on in the public for communication with the world to function in society and what you do in your household. Again, as conservatives, you do your thing, I do my thing. The libertarian approach, keep the government out of my bedroom, keep the government out of my house, keep your rules and laws off of my body or my whatever. Not talking about abortion, we're not going there. But with those kind of mentalities, yeah, you know what? If you go to your home and you have the traditional whatever kind of house, and you have all your religious artifacts, and you have all your religious paintings, and you have all the foods, and you do everything, and you speak that language, first off, I would be a little bummed because, well, you know, if you're trying to assimilate into our society and you want to experience the greatness of America, then, you know, why would you just try to hold on to everything? Hold on to your traditions. I'm all about that. I love tradition. I love learning about traditions. I'm one of those, kind of like Wilson from Home Improvement, where you try to experience a little bit of each one of those traditions and holiday, you know, traditions or holiday different festivals or, you know, whatever. I love that. So I'm all about that. And if you speak your language in your home, I don't care. But know how to speak English outside the front door in the public. Why is that so hard to ask for? Did you know, by the way, quick question for you. Do you realize how many languages are spoken in the United States? There are, according to redlineLS.com, which studies different languages in the United States, there are supposedly 381 different languages in the United States. Now, obviously, English is the number one, and that's what predominantly dominates our society. But there are 381 different spoken languages in the United States. One out of every 5 people living in the U.S. can speak a language other than English in the home. That's awesome. And 6 languages, Chinese, Vietnamese, French, Korean, German, and Tagalog, which is the Philippines, I guess, are the top 6 outside of English. And each of them have over 1 million people that speak those languages right here in the United States. That's cool. That's awesome. But you have to be able to speak English outside of the home. That's awesome. Now then we get which is why many people say we're not really a melting pot, or we're more of a mosaic, because we're not really like assimilating with one another, which is what we're supposed to do. You know, I learn a little about your culture, you learn a little bit about mine, and then we kind of live coexisting happily ever after kind of thing. That's ideal and that's nice, and it works sometimes, but not all the time, to where now we have almost the mosaic. We have Chinatown in San Francisco. We have the Hispanic town and communities. We have the white town. We have the African American town. Now we branched ourselves off and resegregated ourselves amongst each other in society. And that's the wrong way to have an assimilated society that blends together, understands everybody's culture, and works happily ever after. When we have segregated ourselves willingly, kind of unwillingly, but willingly to a degree, to do that, now we've kind of lost the opportunity to understand and to work together. You realize that conservative messages right now are really the ones that say, let's hold hands, sing Kumbaya, and work together. That's the message that I've kind of preached here, and that's the conservative approach. Because if we're intelligent and if we're smart, then we understand each other rather than fear each other. Progressives have been the ones. You got to remember, ideologically right now, progressives have been the ones to put you in that box. You are an African American, therefore you stay in this box and you stay over here. You are that Hispanic, you keep onto that, you speak Spanish, and if anyone gives you a hard time, we're going to call them a racist. They're about the box. You are a member of the LGBTQ crowd. Don't you dare vote Republican, because we are the ones that are supporting you. Don't you dare vote Republican or for Donald Trump if you're a Middle Eastern or if you are a Muslim in any way, because he hates you, he is intolerant against you, and therefore you are in that box. You should be doing this and doing that. They have boxed you up into a tiny little box, and you will never be able to get out of it. Conservatives, I don't care. I truly do not care what your lifestyle, what your skin color, what your gender, what your sexual orientation, what your ancestral history is. I don't care. If you're a jerk to me, then I'm angry with you and I will not like you. If you're nice to me, then I will be happy and welcoming and open-armed, and I will try to understand you, and I will try and learn from you, and hopefully you will want to do the same, and we will be best buddies forever. But Democrats don't do that. Progressives don't do that. So as we hear about the number of languages and how many people speak them, by the way, Spanish speakers, 37.6 million people speaking Spanish in the nation. Chinese, 2.9 million. Tagalog, the Philippines, 1.6 million. Vietnamese, 1.4. French, 1.3. Korean, 1.1. German, 1.1. Arabic, 952,000. And Russian, 906,000 people in the United States speak these languages, other than just English. But they speak English, for the most part. Unless you live in the towns where you don't have to. Unless you live in the communities where all you do is have brought your entire culture to you and have created your own town around that to live like you did back then, but you live it here. And to me, what's the point of even moving? Like, to me, if I wanted to move, if I wanted to live in a different nation, if I wanted to broaden my horizons and do something different with my life, I would say, you know what, honey, Mrs. Voice of Reason, let's go somewhere exotic and someplace completely different because I want to experience something new. I'm done. I'm tired of Bernie Sanders. I don't want to deal with AOC. The world's too stupid for me. Let's just retire and move to another nation. Not that I would ever do that, but if I did, I would want to go someplace exotic. I would want to learn the language, learn the culture, and I would assimilate to what they are doing because that's the way they operate, and I find that completely unique and fun. I would not say, I'm going to walk in there, I'm going to build my 3-story, 3,000 square foot home, 4,000 square foot home, 3-car garage while everybody else is living in a hut, and say, hey, look, I brought my McDonald's, I brought my iPad, I brought my Mercedes. I wish I had all these things, by the way. I brought my Mercedes, I brought all these things with me. Why the hell don't you guys have that? But I'm going to live my way. Ha, sorry, little fellers. You're not going to get what I have. Why would I do that? How many people will say, you know what, I'm going to go and do missions work or health work out in Africa, and I'm going to live in the hut, and I'm going to build the church? How many people want to go to another nation and just say, you know what, I'm going to live on the beach and do my own thing and to heck with everybody? You live and assimilate to their culture because you want to be diversified. So to me, it doesn't make sense. I mean, yeah, I want to keep my traditions. At the same time, I want to learn new ones. It's about expanding, not holding on to it. It's crazy to me that some people have a very difficult time with a lot of that. But again, it's the progressives where they don't like change. They say that we're the ones that don't like change. They don't like it because they want to control it. It's micromanagement. You ever have that boss that is truly about micromanagement? It's a progressive for you. We will dictate your health care. We'll dictate your education. We'll dictate your housing. We'll dictate your car. We'll dictate your finances. We'll dictate We want to make sure that we're in cahoots with every aspect of your life because we know better than you do. So therefore, we're going to be that jerk of a micromanagement boss that sits over your shoulder and criticizes everything that you do and tells you how wrong you're doing it. It's annoying, isn't it? Welcome to the Democrat Party. And that's why we see small business at 74% approval for Donald Trump, or 64% approval. That's why we have CEOs that are saying we'd rather vote for Donald Trump than Bernie Sanders. That is why the Democrats are imploding. Because they have nothing else to give. They have no broader umbrella that they could possibly reach out to new crowds. It's all of a sudden going to boost them up. They can't do it anymore. They're desperate, and they don't know how to handle it. I can't believe we're out of time because we had so much more we wanted to talk about. We have states that want to secede for the United States. Real quickly, here's my question for you. No, let's not do that. Let's have a deeper discussion about that next week because that's a very important topic, and we don't want to secede from the United States. We want to fix the United States. Just as leaving the Republican Party is not the solution for you to all of a sudden have this great voice of conservative messages or libertarian messages. Fight for the Republican Party. Fight to fix it. Do the same thing within your states. And I think I have the solution for that. With states that want to secede or different groups that want to secede from the United States, don't do it. Let's have a conversation about that next week because it's an extremely important one at that. And I think that we have a solution that could work if we try to implement it and got a movement going around the nation. So we'll talk about that next week. Make sure to stay tuned in. We are in talks, I believe, next week at some point. We're going to have Congressman Bob Latta here from the 5th District in Ohio. Also, Congressman Ron Estes from the 4th Congressional District in Kansas, where we just moved from. We're going to start getting some other congressmen on the show as well from around the nation, from wherever we have downloads of the podcast to talk about issues that are related to you in your area. Because remember, we want to focus on your topical issues, even though, unless you're one of those farmers, then Michael Bloomberg, you know what? Anybody can be a farmer. We really don't care about you. We don't care about you. You're just a farmer. Anybody can be a farmer. I could teach you how to be a farmer. Just put that seed in the ground and give it some water, and up comes the corn. Oh, Michael Bloomberg's going to hurt so bad, and it's going to be fun to watch. So we'll talk about all that next week. We have some great guests coming up on the program next week as well. One last time, though, do me a favor. Go to HoosierReason.com. Subscribe to the podcast on the Podbean site. But we are on. I just got the official announcement like 2 days ago. We are officially on iTunes again. And I know that used to be a really good download source, and a lot of people stopped because they didn't have the access to it anymore because it stopped for whatever reason. But iTunes is back up. So you can go on, you can subscribe to it on iTunes, just search The Voice of Reason with Andy Hoosier, or just type in my name, Andy Hoosier, on the podcast stuff, the Apple Podcasts, and it'll come up. You can subscribe, so it'll download to your iTunes automatically every time the show gets uploaded, which is about 15, 20 minutes after the program. But we're also on Spotify, we're on Google Play, we're on TuneIn, if you have the TuneIn app, where you listen through a lot of games or a lot of different events on TuneIn as well. We're all over that stuff, plus the Podbean. Subscribe, get the show downloaded each and every day once we post it on there, and we're really close to hitting some really cool numbers on there. So we appreciate everybody listening, no matter where you may be. More information, go to HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Remember, I'm the catalyst to help you be the local activist in your community. Prove to the government that you don't need them to solve the issues of the day. You can do it yourself, which is what we do with Conservative Principles. And as always, for you, it's time to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason, as this is the Voice of Reason here on the Hoosier Media Network. Everybody have a wonderful weekend, and happy Friday, and join us again on Monday.